You're all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. This is John Pumphrey, Chairman of the Rockland Finance Committee. It's 7:01 p.m. on April 21st. This is our Finance Committee meeting for the month of April. Joining us tonight, we have the following Finance Committee members: Bobby McDonald, Vice Chair. We've got Craig, Julie, Bill Principe, Bill Stewart, Joe, Linda, Megan, Jeff, Lori, all from the Finance Committee. Actually, Jeff is absent. We've got Doug and Biz. Doug joining us from the Town Administrator's Office, Biz from our Accountant's Office, and Tim White is here for the Veterans Agents. So welcome all. Did I forget anybody?
Linda, did you get Linda?
Oh, I'm sorry, Linda. Yeah, Linda Sternfeld from our Finance Committee. All right. With that, I'm sharing. Can everyone see my see the agenda I'm sharing?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. So the agenda tonight is pretty, not like our previous meetings leading up to the warrant. We've got a little bit less on the agenda tonight, which is a welcome break. We are going to look at the warrant, just talk about the warrant, if there's any changes to that, any discussion around that, plan ahead for the first Monday in May, which will be the town meeting, which is on May 3rd. We will be meeting at 6:30 p.m. That evening. In case there are any last minute changes, we'll be available to meet. And then town meeting will start up at 7 p.m. I believe Doug has some kind of logistics discussion around seating and things of that nature that I think should be important for us to hear. We'll hear from the town accountant, any changes to town finances, anything that's come in, any changes on some of our numbers that we've been waiting on, state budgets, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't heard that there's many changes, but any updates she'll share with us. In addition, there is a transfer request that's come in from the veterans agents. I've distributed that. People can take a look at that. We'll bring that up online. We'll have some discussion on it, and we'll take a vote. That is for the veterans grave markers, and we'll go through that. In addition, we also have some minutes from previous meetings that Julie Schaefer has prepared that we'll go through and vote on to accept. The audience should be aware that meeting minutes will be posted at Town Hall as well as online. And this meeting is an open meeting. It will be broadcast on WRPS for folks to review at a later date. And certainly we'll welcome any questions or participation in future meetings. Anything else from anyone to add? All right, so with that, Doug, do you want to walk us through if there's any changes to the warrant, but I guess probably more so the logistical conversation?
Sure, thanks, John. I'm pleased to say there are no changes to the warrant. So everything is as posted and it's on the website, available at town buildings. And as far as the logistics go, it will really be just the same as our last town meeting. We will have a what will look like kind of an iPad. It's a little scanner at the door where folks can just look at the screen. You don't have to touch anything. It'll take people's temperatures, just make sure nobody has a fever, require everybody to wear masks. And as we did at the last town meeting, we'll have a few town staff members act as ushers that'll keep family members together and keep people that are not in the same household 6 feet apart. And we'll have overflow space available if needed in other rooms. So pretty much the same logistics as last time, and no changes to the warrant.
All right, that's perfect. Great. I appreciate that, Doug. Any questions? I also forwarded a link. Of course, we've all seen the warrant at this point. We've all gotten copies of the warrant emailed to us, but I also just forwarded everyone a link that Doug had forwarded out. So if you wanted to look at it online, that should be dropped in your email. You can just click on that right from your phone and go right to the warrant. If you have any questions or like that, it comes up between now and May 3rd. Okay. All right. So that's that on the warrant. Biz, do you want to share with us any changes to either state finances, if there's any markers that are coming up, like we expect to see something by a certain date, anything to share from that perspective.
What I can tell you is the House Ways and Means put out their budget and the net increase is so minimal. After the increase comes in and then the offset to state aid, the total amount is about $3,600 increase. So it's not worth making any decisions at this point, but we still have the Senate Ways and Means to do and the conference committee and then the final budget. So there's still several more stages on that. So at this time, there's nothing for state aid to discuss. A lot of you have probably heard about what's called oppa funding, and that's funding from the federal government. There's been a slew of webinars involved with the Treasury and the National League of Cities, which is a lead proponent of the plans that we're working with right now. And effective May 10th, we should get guidance from the Department of Revenue as far as what we can do with the funding, how we can spend it, et cetera. And communities who have populations of 50,000 and higher, they'll be getting funding prior to June 30. And from what the information is right now, communities who have under 50,000 will not be receiving any funding until after the fiscal year ends. So that may change, but there's an awful lot of information that's going on with the opera and the different grants and everything. So once we have a better handle, we'll inform the Finance Committee, the Board of Selectmen, and the community. I'm sure Mr. Lapp will address that in the appropriate fashion when the time comes.
So I want to make sure I got these points. Is it called ABRA?
Oh, ARPA, American Recovery Something Act, Protection
Okay.
Act, I think it's called.
All right, and you said we'll get some decisions on or around May 10th.
Correct. The Treasury
and-
just put out information on April 15th, but their information is very bland, to say the least. It's not definitive in a lot of areas. So as of May 10th, we're supposed to have a more robust picture as to what we can do and what we can't do. And this will be a point that once we do have an idea, there'll be meetings going forward with Mr. Lapp, the financial team, to address whatever funding we're going to get. Currently, whatever funding we have, it depends on which section of funding you get. We're eligible to spend out to December 31st, 2024. So this isn't something where you want to put all your eggs in the same basket and do a spending frenzy. You know, you want to be conservative with what you're doing.
All right, and similar to other funding, we expect to have, I think that's what you're talking about, is the restrictions around what you can spend it on and what you can't. And you said we would expect that our funding would actually hit sometime in FY22.
Right, that's the information that we got today, but you know, as it's ever evolving, the information is always changing. It's kind of like the state budget. So once we get information, we'll share it as it comes through.
Okay, and all right, I mean, that's interesting. I wonder if they'll, kind of in the vein that you're talking about, if there'll be an opportunity, if that money comes in to help us out with some parts of the budget, if there'll be an opportunity to
This won't
replenish
be,
some of our, stabilization fund or whatever it is, if it can help us with one part of our budget, if we can replenish some of our stabilization.
it's not really meant for a stabilization fund, for a budgeting aspect of it. There is a portion of revenue replacement that we're looking at, but it all depends on what the guidelines are and what type of revenue and how we can record that going forward. So like I said, all of the guidance is not in. So once we do get it, then we'll have the financial team meetings and with the school department ourselves to sit down and kind of root out what they're giving us as far as the information. We'll be dealing with our auditors, we'll be dealing with the DOR, the attorneys, make sure we are doing everything by the book.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I mean, my point, and feel free if anybody wants to chime in, I just want to give you, if, for example, there was a $100,000 in our budget that was dedicated to pay for something that we've already budgeted for in FY 22 or 23. If that 100,000 can now be covered by this grant money, that frees up potentially $100,000 that could be redirected. And I just want to make sure that you guys are considering, could it be redirected back into stabilization? We take normal revenues and we redirect those, not the grant money.
Right, we're considering every avenue possible.
Okay.
But it also depends on how the DOR is going to let us record these certain revenues. It may have to go to free cash for the fiscal year 21 or fiscal year 22. So there's a lot of gray area that we don't have any definition on. So I'd rather we not commit to something that we aren't sure of right now.
Understood.
Okay.
The good news at a high level, I was on the MMA call today, the first half hour of it.
Yep.
And a couple of highlights, more than $2 billion coming to Massachusetts. They expect twice as much for schools this time around than there was the previous time. So that's encouraging. The other piece, this figure is national, but there's $1.1 billion for water assistance funds. And given our issues with water, I'm wondering whether there's going to be opportunity to get a grant there to help through this program.
Well,
Well,
that's where it
we'll see.
comes down to the definition. There's certain capital projects that will be allowed. And, it's going to come down to a needs assessment throughout the community and what we can do, what we can't do, and how do we rebuild some of our programs that became unfunded or severely reduced with certain fees that we were allowed to collect, and we weren't allowed to collect them in the last quarter of 20, and pretty much we haven't been able to collect a lot of these fees in 21. So there is a large analysis that's going to be ongoing as we prepare for this funding.
So you're saying we have a shot at some of that money?
We will have funding. We're definitely going to have funding. There's different avenues of funding that's coming in. The MMA website has 2 different avenues for the town of Rockland, just for the town side that has nothing to do with the school. There's also ESSA funding coming from the school, which is ESSA 1, 2, and 3. I believe ESSA 3 is running $2.3 million for the school. But again, these grants have to go out a number of years. They aren't, or this funding has to go out a number of years. It's not immediate cash in hand. So we believe some of our funding will be going like it is now through the CARES Act, where Plymouth County will be receiving the bulk of the funding for Plymouth County communities, and we'll be following the same logic as we did before. It's still going to be a grant aspect where we have to apply for reimbursements. We're not just going to be handed $3.4 million from Plymouth County and $1.7 million from the federals. So there's certain things that we have to deal with.
Do we have anybody specifically that's working on the grant applications besides you?
There are no grant applications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just funding that's going to be available for communities. There are different grants that will be going forward for school departments all over their grants. They're very good at what they do. Different grants that come in would be for
I was thinking more on the water, yeah.
yeah, see, that's different. That's the capital project aspect of the funding.
Yeah.
So that is something we're going to be working at, and it's definitely going to be looked at. We know we have the water we need to address. We know we're going to have the sewer that we need to address. Certain infrastructure projects will be allowable, certain ones won't. So it's going to be a lot of work to do what's best for the community as a whole. But it won't all be done overnight.
No, it won't.
Okay. Anything else on that avenue? Mr. Lapp, do you have anything to say on that, or think I got it covered?
No, I think you got it covered. I do understand. I mean, I guess I would just stress that, like, everything's on the table. You know what I mean? Like, we're open-minded and everything's on the table. And I do get John's point earlier about, another way to look at stabilization is normally we would never take stabilization funds and use it toward our operating budget. But we were forced to do that in FY21 because of all of our revenue deficits because of COVID. So if the intent of some of this ARPA funding is revenue replacement. You could make a logic, there's an argument to be made, well, let's replenish the stabilization fund because that was a direct result of lost revenue from COVID. So I see where you're going
Correct.
with that, John, and like, we're open, everything's on the table. We, like as Biz said, we have to get the final numbers. We have to get the final guidance from the Department of Treasury and the DOR, and then we'll analyze it. We'll bring some options and then recommendations to you guys, and then we'll move forward.
John, you're muted if you're talking to us.
Thank you. I noticed there was an article about a second plant got approved. Was it for a marijuana facility? Or is that old news? I'm trying to think now. I don't keep track of that stuff on a regular basis, but I just happened to see.
That's old.
Might be old news. There's two that are physically open,
Right.
Canavana and Health Circle. Cresco has been, I believe, had already been approved. That's on Hingham Street. And then the fourth one, Two Buds, has been approved a while ago, but they're not under construction yet. They're still working on their financing. So that there's
Where is that going to be located?
permitted. Excuse me?
Where's that last one going to be located, Doug?
Two Buds is going to be literally right, like almost next door to Canavana. That road right next to Canavana off Weymouth Street is Airport Drive or Air Station Road, Airport Drive, something like that. It's like right next to Canavana, just down that little short road at the end.
It's I think it's the road that has "Just Say No to Drugs" out front.
It does. That's a highly ironic note that was put up by the abutter who did not support the project. So
Yeah.
I anticipate some of the customers are probably going to take some selfies there after they buy their supplies.
Guess he doesn't understand the revenues the town's going to
All
take in on this.
Can I ask a question about that, please?
Go ahead.
Last week sometime, I was driving up Weymouth Street, and there was a line of cars waiting to get into Carvana, to the extent that it was out onto the street, and then, you had to go around to get by. And I'm just wondering if a second store is going to be put in. What's that? Has anyone done a traffic impact on that?
Well, hopefully that'll be on a side street and it'll cut down on the traffic probably, right?
Yeah.
That's it. It'll be, yeah, I hear your point, Bill. I mean, as part of their permitting through the Zoning Board of Appeals, traffic is one of those impacts that has to be fully vetted with traffic studies. And that's why in the beginning they required, appointment only, things like that. I'd have to go back and look at the actual Two Buds decision that, they may have required appointment only for them. I'm not sure. But I hear the concern. I do hear the concern. And that's a concern for all commercial development, but certainly with these, it's, I think another argument though is as Cresco opens and as Health Circle gets, busier, that's going to siphon some of that business over, down the road away from that particular intersection. But I hear the point.
Over to Hingham Street that really needs the traffic. Make it worse.
Okay.
You being facetious, Julie?
Yes, I am. I
Bill,
mean,
you didn't see any detail out there? I thought that sometimes they had.
Oh, no, the cop, there were two cops, one inside and one on the street.
Oh, so there was a detail there, all right.
All right, let
But
me.
still, I mean, the cars were lined up getting into the store, and then the overflow was out on the street. And there was like 5 or 6 cars.
And they park across the street too. People just jaywalk across, yeah.
that's right on the bend of the road there, though.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous place. Yeah.
Last time I had to stop and slow down for people crossing the street because they're parked across the street.
All right, I'm going to share with everyone a reserve fund transfer. I don't know if you can see my screen on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
show-
you guys can see my screen?
Yeah, but it's an email. It's not the actual transfer form.
Okay, hang on. Try that again. And there it is.
There you go.
Right. Okay, so the amount requested is $10,000 from the veterans budget. We have Tim White here from the veterans. Tim, do you want to talk us through the request and what's the overall objective? What are we trying to accomplish with this?
John, if I can explain the request and then we can go to Tim. You also received 2 quotes from the vendor. Tim had actually requested 500 grave markers, but that will barely cover one of our cemeteries. And he wanted to split it up over the course of 3 years. So when we were discussing it, it was like, all right, so we have 4 cemeteries. So how are you going to decide which grave markers are going to get these, which grave's going to be marked with this? So I spoke with him, I spoke with the vendor, and so the request is for 10,000. That would be for 2,000 grave markers, which after talking to Tim, he felt that would probably cover all of the graves in town, and we would get a lot of this done immediately instead of waiting 2-3 years in order to accomplish the project. And on that note, I'll leave it to Tim. Thank you.
Good evening. Yeah, what happened was Jeff Nigerian of the VFW and the American Legion contacted me as we were meeting to discuss Memorial Day preparations. And he made a comment that we need a lot, and in his words, thousands, or in the low thousand of these grave markers. And what they are is we put burial flags by the veterans' graves, and typically what you see in most cemeteries, for instance, in Hanson, all the veteran graves have these markers, and it helps, when you go in to replace all the burial flags, it helps identify a veteran's grave. Or you can take the time, you'll search through the markers that are done on the ground, but sometimes some of the veterans' graves are difficult to identify. They may have a firefighter's marker next to it or something like that, but they're also a veteran. So anyway, Jeff notified me of this, and some weeks ago, we decided to meet and we walked Holy Family Cemetery, just as one example. And we walked through 2 sections in the cemetery, and there were 67 markers that we felt were in need. They were missing, they were not there, and or some were damaged just from tree branches falling on them and so forth. At Holy Family Cemetery, there's 28 sections. So that's just one example in one cemetery. By and large, most of the markers that are needed are World War II, Korea, and Vietnam markers. We probably do need some other markers, so a very small portion of an overall purchase, would go to World War I, also Iraq, Afghanistan, and Civil War, etc. So I had walked.
Are they all labeled accordingly?
I'm sorry?
Are they all labeled accordingly?
Yeah, from the vendor, they have all the wars marked. And then for a veteran who may not have served in a particular war, or maybe during peacetime, there's a general marker. It just says U.S. veteran. But yes, so I can get the markers for pretty much all of the wars. Spanish-American War is a different one. So I don't know if they produce a Spanish-American War marker, but every other war is available. And they worked with us and gave us a good price. And also with the markers come aluminum rods and to stick into the ground. And there's also some weight to them. So they were willing to absorb the shipping and receiving cost, due to such a large order. They also have the markers in stock, and the lead time to do all this would be within days, which was very helpful. So anyway, that's kind of the culmination of where we're at. I was surprised that there were so few markers at Holy Family, and according to Jeff Najarian, he said the other cemeteries are exactly the same way. For example, over in Hanson at the Fern Hill Cemetery, we have these markers throughout the cemetery. There's probably, I don't know, 12 to 1,400 grave sites. And it becomes a thing now that, I very rarely buy these markers. It's about every third year or so. I might get a very small batch just to replace the ones that have been damaged, like I said, from tree limbs falling and stuff like that. So I will emphasize, there is no requirement to have these markers. What we do is we put a burial flag by the grave, and we purchase the burial flags, and the state of Massachusetts reimburses us up to 75% of the cost for the flags. But if you walk, many cemeteries, you will see these markers, throughout the region at all the cemeteries. And these markers, these are a hard plastic. In the past, these markers, you can order bronze metal ones. And those are more expensive, and they also get stolen. So I do not order the bronze markers. So that's pretty much where we're at. And so in preparation for Memorial Day, that's what came up with, to try and get the markers put out when we do the flags.
Are you gonna be looking for volunteers to help place the markers?
Yeah, I already have the Boy Scout troops help
Good.
out. In addition, there's a veteran, Thomas Mills, who used to be on the Rockland School Committee. He's volunteering, and they coordinate with some other guys. And then, due to COVID and stuff, I do a little preamble with the scouts to try and keep it family oriented for those who are living with their families to, take various sections at the cemeteries. So we'll coordinate all that once we have all the flags and or markers on hand. I try to do that after Mother's Day, but before Memorial Day, so we get all the cemeteries all cleaned up kind of at the same time.
That's good. My kids have volunteered in the past and placed flags and things like that.
Oh, great.
I'll make the motion to approve the transfer to purchase the grave
I'll
markers.
I'll second that.
Who made the motion, please?
Craig,
Greg?
Joe
Okay,
seconded.
thank you.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. All right, that is passed.
Thank you all for your consideration and assistance with this.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
The least we could do.
And thank you, Biz, too, for your coordination as well.
You're welcome. Thank you and good luck putting them in, Tim.
I
Yeah, it's the least we
Thanks,
could do.
Tim.
The veterans deserve it.
Yes, they
Thank-
do.
All right, because I have that signed for you. I'll
Great.
scan it and fax it to you as soon as we're done. Email it, I should say.
Yep.
All right, so that is our transfers. We've already gone over the warrant. Anything else for Biz and Doug before we cut them loose and go over minutes? Okay. All right, I will send out, like I said, a meeting invite for May the 3rd. At 6:30 p.m. So it'll be the night of the town meeting. Regardless, we will at least adjourn a meeting because that will cover our requirements for May. Certainly, if we need to meet, the town will let us know, and we'll go ahead and meet again in May. But if we don't need to meet, we'll meet in June, and we'll figure out that at that time. So anything else for Doug and Biz?
Yeah, just a reminder, Joe, that John, that I will be out of town for the first 3 weeks of May, so I won't be there. Somebody else will have to take some notes if there is a meeting before town meeting.
I think Craig just volunteered.
Correct, God.
Yeah, he volunteered last week.
What a guy. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Craig.
We're too
My
fast.
pleasure.
Back.
All right, good stuff. So Biz and Doug, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And Julie,
Night,
have you sent me
Biz.
all of the minutes?
Yeah, I sent them to everybody.
Ooh.
We have March 3rd, March 10th, and March 24th.
Nope, I didn't see them.
I'm gonna look for minutes. Okay, the first one I have up is March 24th. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen on that one. Hold, please.
John, can I vote on that if I was not at the meeting?
Nope,
I didn't think so. Okay, just checking.
good try though.
Yeah.
All right, so
Didn't see
here
your
are
emails, really.
minutes. If you guys can all see them. Okay, so Jeff Lever was absent. Linda was in attendance, but I don't think she was a member of the committee at the time.
Correct.
This goes through. Okay. What else there? So talking about the additional funding. Okay. These are just some adjustments that we make into the budget before we move through it.
Right.
Wow, Julie, you earn your keep on this one.
Yeah, really.
The week before that was more.
Ooh.
Just copy and paste from year to year.
You're earning your stipend.
All right. Anything else? Anyone have any comments or corrections to the meeting minutes from March 24th?
Nope.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of March 24th.
I'll make a motion to approve March 24th meetings.
I have a
Second
motion
that
by
motion.
Bobby. I have a second by Joe.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right, that is,
Did Megan approve or second all of those just to teach Julie how to spell her name?
I get it wrong again on this?
No, all 120 of them, you got them right.
Oh, yeah.
thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. All right, let me open up the next fancy email from Julie. This is meetings from meeting minutes from March 10th.
Yeah.
Okay. March 10th. All right, meeting minutes, March 10th. Joe Gambon was absent, so Joe, you're out on this one.
Oh, okay.
Biz, Doug Lapp, Alan Cron. Capital Planning was in to talk. Alan Cron, Alan is A-L-A-N. Julie, if you see that on the left,
I do. Okay,
fourth paragraph down, page 1.
got it. Thank you.
Jane Hackett discussed the revenue for schools. Talks about the revenues. Chapter 7 money. Okay. We got some questions from the Finance Committee. Decrease in homeschooling, increase in kindergarten, preschool. This is kind of coming out of COVID. We're going to see that.
Mm,
These are all the different departmental budgets, dollars that were approved, the motions, the seconds. There's probably going to be some abstains in there somewhere.
there is
I don't see any on here, but
tax collector. Craig abstained.
got it. Okay. Tree department, Craig abstained.
Yeah, highway.
And there was one no from Bobby. I'm pretty sure.
That's in there. Yeah.
Gotta be a no. It's all right.
Yeah, that was the tree department, I think.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, Bobby abstained from the sewer department. All right, that was, those are the minutes for
No, water department, I abstained from.
March 10th. You abstained from the water department too?
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have to abstain from the sewer.
So
right.
Noah, okay, you make that adjustment, Julie?
You did not abstain from the sewer?
No, just the water.
Okay.
Okay, with the noted changes that we said or as amended, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from March 10th.
I make a motion to approve March 10th minutes as changed.
Okay, I have a motion from Bobby and a second from,
I'll second.
I have a second from Megan. All in favor?
Aye.
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 It's a vote. Thank you. And Julie, you said there's one more in here,
March 3rd.
February 17th, February 10, February 3, 17, 24, March 10th, March 24th. I don't see March 3rd in here, Julie.
You don't?
Did you send it to my other email address, maybe?
Let me check.
Does anybody else set up alerts to get text when there's when somebody posts agendas or minutes to the town website?
I think I did sign up for something, yeah.
No, I was talking to Gino. I noticed every time I go click on the link, the website comes up, says not secure.
That's
And then
not
I upgraded my McAfee secure, and that now I'm even getting more comments from my McAfee saying it's not certified or. But Gino's looking into it.
Okay.
I just was curious if anybody else was having issues.
So you're not logging into the solar farm, are you?
John, that was sent out on March 9th.
And I did not receive it, Julie. So you want,
What
can you
address to
resend
send
it?
to?
I will resend it to you.
Did you send it from the two Schaefer's at Yahoo? Or did you send it from Julie 4260?
To Schaffers at Yahoo. Schaffers.
Yep, I got nothing. I got March 29th, I got an email, and 4/12, I got an email.
Okay, I'll send it out to you again.
All right, while we're waiting for that, I'll just go over one quick thing we had come up, and I forwarded it out. I think I forwarded this out in February originally, but I just re-forwarded it out. There's an acknowledgement for, hang on a second, conflict of interest requirements. So there's a document. The first email I sent didn't have the attachment. My apologies. The second email had the attachment, and there is an acknowledgement that you need to make around conflict of interest, and that has to be turned back into the town. So here. You know, it talks about the fact that you're aware of like bribes and gratuities, misuse of position, self-dealing and nepotism, false claims, appearance of conflict, after hours restrictions, divided loyalties, inside track, forever ban, 1 year cooling off period, partners, etc. And then you have to acknowledge that you have received it and turn that back into the town. If you'd like, if you have the capability to sign it and then scan it, you can email it to Liza Landy, who, when the email agenda goes out each month from me, Liza is who it goes to, so you can find her on that email address. If you are having any trouble with that, let me know. You can always forward it to me and I can forward it to Liza. That's completely fine.
When did you send that? What date did you send that out, John?
Well, I sent it out just.
Oh, I see it. You
Just a
sent
bit
it out.
ago, just again today, but I believe it was originally sent in February. And
Long time ago.
I remember having a conversation with Liza about it, so I can't imagine I didn't send it out, but if I didn't, I apologize, but it's definitely a check the box thing, but it is important that everybody's aware and everybody, does that.
Does
John,
that
I
mean
could-
you need to take the course also?
Yeah, you're supposed to
That's the
take the
ethics
course.
And you
That's
take the
separate.
test.
Yeah, if you haven't taken the ethics course, I'll just share my email. That gets in right here. So the ethics course is right here, municipal muniprogram.eth.state.ma.us. And then you'll have, your information in there. You should complete that training course. There's a certificate that you get at the end. It tells you how to save the certificate and send it to them. If you're having any issues, you could always go to the town and I guess take it there on one of their computers and then they can print it for you and you'll be all set. But if you can follow the instructions that are included in the email, it's fairly straightforward. Unfortunately, the program is a little bit on the lengthy side and a little bit redundant. But hey, it is what it is. It drives home the point. But that isn't a requirement that we sign that document, summary of conflict, and then we present that, and then we go ahead and do the program online. Okay. If anybody has
John, the
questions-
document, I can just go up to Liza's office and sign it, right?
You have to go
yeah,
through and take the test.
she'll be able. So Bobby, she'll be able to print it out for you, and you can just sign it for her. That's fine. No problem.
Yeah.
And as far as the test goes, I know you have a town computer anyway. If you bring the laptop with you and take the course.
Yeah,
can
I
just-
took mine last January, so I'm good for another year. You only do
Yeah.
that every other year, right?
I thought it was a couple of years, and I posed that question to Liza. I haven't heard back yet, but I don't have
Yeah.
my certificate that I sent in, and I feel like I might be right around 2 years anyway. So I'm definitely going to take it. But
Yeah,
again,
I think I have to as well.
Yeah, I did mine January of last year.
it's more of a
Thought you had to, the requirement was to turn in the certificates to the clerk's office.
it is.
It is. So for those of you, like I've already done that, but do I still have to sign this thing too?
If you haven't signed the summary of the conflict of interest, which is the attachment that she provided, just the signature page. If you haven't signed that and turned it into the clerk's office for this year, then you need to do that. In addition,
I just turned in my certificate.
In addition, they want you to take the interest law online training program.
I did that.
Okay, if you've done it all, I mean, you can always call Liza and she can just check her records.
All right.
Her latest email to me was that, she's still missing a lot of information. It wasn't like this person did it, this person didn't. She said she's missing it. So we're gonna get that done.
Okay.
All right.
They're two different things. You have the conflict of interest, you have to sign off and hand it in. The ethics,
Right.
you have to go online, take the test, print the certificate, and then turn it in, right?
Correct.
Because the certificate you sign, you're supposed to sign every year. The class that you take online, you do every other year.
I think you're right. All right.
I believe you are correct, but I can't put my fingers on my certificate at this point. So I'll have to
can
take the course and get back to you.
You can also
But-
email a copy of the summary. So there's a note at the bottom that you can email it. Like you can just send an email.
Says you're required to return your employer acknowledgement that you received the summary, which your employer will maintain on file. So this is our municipal employer. We're technically considered municipal employees.
Yeah.
Last part has informed you, alternative, your employer may ask you acknowledge receipt by replying to an email by completing an online form. Please follow the instructions provided by your employer. So
I just
I don't
sent you,
know. If you want to email it to her and if she accepts it, great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Alright.
fine with that. It doesn't bother me. It's fine by me. I've received it. I understand it. I
mhm,
agree with it, whatever it is, and zip it back. And if she has an issue with that, then she can ask if she needs to sign.
okay,
All right. I'm not pretending to be an expert at this stuff. Frankly, I went through all of this stuff before, so it's pretty redundant at this point. But,
Yeah.
but it's the right thing to do, and we should do it. We need to do it.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions on this? All right. Julie, were you able to send that over while we were chit-chatting?
I did not. I was working with my iPad and I'm talking to you on my computer and my iPad is not functioning the way I want it to. So, but I was just looking at my hard copy, or I'm not functioning the way I'm supposed to. I was just looking at my hard copy and I had I had like business names spelled wrong and I have it corrected on here, which tells me that we have already voted on them. But I don't have them in the minutes that we just
On the
did.
second page, Julie, you had business name is Bix, B-I-X.
Yeah, and I corrected that, which tells me that we've talked about it before. Because I have the original copy and I have the corrected copy.
All right. Is there anything you need us to do with the minutes right now, Julie? Do we need to revote
No,
any?
we'll do it the next time I'm around.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So we'll pick up the meetings from March 3rd, I think is what you're talking about, right, Julie?
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
we'll pick up the meetings from March 3rd. If you have a copy of it, we'll handle it on the night of the town hall.
Everybody else should have a copy because that was sent out to everybody.
mhm.
Okay.
Anybody else got a copy?
I didn't see the email, to be honest with you.
Not hearing anybody? I guess it didn't go
Hold
through.
on. I think I got it.
Julie, you sent that from your personal email address?
Yes, well, yes, the two Shaffas.
All right, I don't recall seeing it myself, but
Okay.
I'll look again.
All right. All right. So we'll handle that on the next meeting. Any further questions or discussion?
I found it if you wanted, John.
Mhm.
Oh, you have the email, Craig,
Yeah,
for the March 3rd minutes?
yeah,
You want to forward it to me?
sure. I just sent it
Okay.
to the FinCom address.
Thank
That's the one
you.
we
Craig.
needed.
There it is.
Well,
I got you back, Julie. Now you can go on vacation.
Thanks a lot. I don't go on vacation, I'm just gonna go bananas.
all right. I got you. I got you. March 3rd, 2021. We are efficient. Stop sharing. Share. All right, meetings from March 3rd, meeting minutes, March 3rd.
Excellent.
All right, here we go. So Sheila was absent. Megan's name is spelled incorrectly.
Right, just want to be consistent.
That makes me feel, that's one of those bogeys you put in there. We got Biz in there, right? That's good. Okay, Delshon. So this is when we went over,
Then right there, it says Bix,
okay,
the lower right side.
got it. All right,
Yeah, the last paragraph.
and CPA, we had library.
Yeah,
Board of
Board of Health.
So we had Board of Health from Delshon. We had transfer request for mail-in ballots.
Now you
Fine.
think of that, did you notice when you voted last time, when you put your ballot in, there was no one there to register you after you voted?
Yeah, that was
Oh,
kind
that's
of,
right. I didn't think of that, Bobby. You just said that.
Yeah,
That was weird, because lady goes, oh, just throw it in, and they were all just standing there.
right.
Right.
I'm like,
Yes, she said stick it in and there was a person there, but they didn't check you out.
right, exactly.
Did we pay those people?
Yeah,
We do.
they get like 25 bucks an hour.
That much.
I actually, they don't.
They
Let's
don't
make sure we're,
get that
let's
much.
make sure we don't have it on the record that they get 25 an hour.
No, they don't make that much.
As Liz presented before, they're all minimum
I'm gonna say, I'm
wage.
gonna volunteer.
Yeah. No, I'm
All
just busting your balls.
There you go. Thank you very
Um,
much.
John, if
All
I
right.
may, you never sent over the approved transfer request for the 4,000 for the postage.
Okay,
If you can just forward me the approved copy, I'd appreciate it.
so you need the 4,000 for the
Yes,
postage.
please. Yes, please.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right. And that was March 10th. We voted on that.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so, so with the exception, not at the exception, or including the amendments to some of the spelling, I'll entertain a motion to move.
I'll make a motion
The
to
meeting minutes
approve.
for March 3rd as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the meetings of March 3rd as amended.
I'll second that.
I have a meeting, I have okay, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against?
Aye.
All right. All right, meeting minutes for March 3rd are accepted. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Julie, thanks for.
Who was
putting that
voting
together.
against?
No one voted against it. I think it was a late aye, right? Yeah, it was an aye, not a nay.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay. All right, good. So we get all the minutes all up to date.
Great, I can send them all out to town hall.
Perfect. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Just a reminder, again, it's gonna be 6:30 on May 3rd.
That's a week from Monday.
As a week from Monday, we will be in the high school cafeteria. Usually the selectmen also meet, and usually capital planning, there's members of the capital planning meet there, so they can meet if they need to as well. Any last minute things, the town usually notifies me ahead of time, and I'll get that right out to you as well. All right.
Okay,
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn for the night.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Joe. I have a second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you on May 3rd.
stay safe.
All right.